Your Dachshund just ignored you. They heard you. You know they heard you because their ears twitched, they glanced over their shoulder, and then they carried on doing exactly what they were doing before you spoke. And somewhere in the back of your mind, a little voice repeated something you've heard 100 times. Dachshunds are stubborn. Dachshunds are difficult. That's just how they are. Here's the problem. That voice is wrong. And it's not the only thing you've been told about this breed that's wrong. Today, we're pulling apart 5 of the biggest lies about Dachshunds, the ones repeated in comment sections, at dog parks, and even by people who should know better. Some of these lies are harmless. At least one of them could genuinely shorten your dog's healthy years. By the end of this video, you'll understand your Dachshund better than most owners ever will. So stay with me, because number 2 is the one almost everyone gets wrong. Lie number 1. Dachshunds are stubborn. Let's go back to that moment where your Dachshund looked at you and kept walking. It feels like defiance. It looks like defiance. But stubbornness means refusing to do something out of sheer contrariness, and that is not what's happening inside that long little body. Dachshunds were developed to work alone, underground, in the dark, far beyond any human voice. There was no handler down in the earth telling them what to do next. Every decision, when to push forward, when to hold ground, when to back out, had to come from the dog itself. So for generations, the Dachshunds that thrived were the ones who trusted their own judgment over everything else. That trait didn't disappear when they moved onto our sofas. It's still there, running quietly in the background of everything they do. What looks like stubbornness is actually a dog running a quick cost-benefit analysis and deciding, honestly and without malice, that your request didn't make the shortlist. Once you understand that, training changes completely. You stop trying to overpower their will and start making yourself worth listening to. You use better rewards, shorter sessions, and you give them small choices inside the structure you set. Ask any owner who's cracked this, and they'll tell you the same thing. A Dachshund who sees the point of a command is one of the most reliable, clever little workers you'll ever meet. The breed was never the problem. The label was. Quick one. If your Dachshund is barking, having potty accidents, ignoring you, or you're worried about their back, I put everything that actually works into a 30-day plan to protect their back, master potty training, and stop stubborn behavior. 1 printable page a day, 15 minutes, no experience needed. Links in the description. Let's continue. Lie number 2. Stairs and jumping are what ruin their backs. This is the big one, and it's the lie that does real damage because it points your worry in the wrong direction. You've probably heard it 1,000 times. Don't let them jump, don't let them climb, protect the back at all costs. And if a Dachshund ends up with a back injury, it must be because somebody let them do too much. Here's the truth. The condition behind most Dachshund back problems is called intervertebral disc disease, and it's genetic. The same gene that gives Dachshunds their short legs also changes the discs in their spine, causing them to harden and lose their cushioning early in life, often before the dog's 2nd birthday. That process happens whether your Dachshund lives in a bungalow or sprints up a staircase every single day. The stairs didn't cause it. The genetics did. Now, this doesn't mean movement is irrelevant. A hard, twisting landing off the back of a sofa can absolutely be the moment a weakened disc finally gives way. But wrapping your Dachshund in cotton wool creates a different problem, because a dog that never moves never builds muscle. Research on the breed keeps pointing in the same surprising direction, which is that fit, active, lean Dachshunds with strong core muscles tend to have fewer back problems than pampered couch dogs, not more. The muscle along their spine works like a natural back brace, and you cannot build that brace with rest. So the real enemies are extra weight, weak muscles, and repeated high-impact landings in that order. Keep them lean, walk them properly, add a ramp for the sofa and the bed, and let them be a dog. Fear is not a health plan. If that just changed how you think about your Dachshund's spine, take 1 second and hit subscribe, because that's exactly the kind of myth-busting this channel exists for. Now, lie number 3, and this one's personal for anyone with neighbors. Lie number 3. Dachshunds are yappy little dogs. Say the word yappy and everyone pictures the same thing, a small dog making small dog noise, barking at nothing all day for no reason. And when a dachshund fires off that famous deep rolling bark at the postman, plenty of people file it under exactly that heading, small dog syndrome, an overreacting little diva. Wrong on every count. First, listen to the bark itself. It's absurdly deep for a dog that size, and that's not an accident. Dachshunds have a broad chest and a large hound-built voice box because their bark was designed to be heard through meters of solid earth. A quiet dachshund would have been a useless dachshund, so the loud ones were the ones whose bloodlines continued. Your dachshund isn't malfunctioning when they bark, they're doing the one job they were built to broadcast. Second, a dachshund almost never barks at nothing. They bark at things you haven't noticed yet. A car door 3 houses down, a footstep on the pavement, a change in the light through the front window. To them, it's not noise, it's a report, and they expect you to receive it. The barking gets worse in homes where it's ignored or punished, because a dog whose reports go unanswered simply concludes the message wasn't loud enough or long enough. The fix isn't shouting, which just sounds like you joining in. It's acknowledgement. Walk over calmly, look at what they're looking at, say thank you in a low voice, and lead them away. It sounds almost too simple, but you're closing the loop the breed was built around. Alert, response, done. Do that consistently, and the marathon barking sessions start shrinking because for the first time, someone's actually answering. Lie number 4. If they're burrowing under blankets, they must be cold. Every dachshund owner knows the ritual. You look over at the sofa, and your dog has vanished, and all that's left is a suspicious lump under the throw blanket, rising and falling gently. And the explanation you'll hear everywhere is the obvious one. Short coat, small body, low to the ground, the poor thing is freezing. Except they do it in summer. They do it with the heating on. They do it under a duvet in a warm room until you genuinely start wondering how they can breathe under there. Cold doesn't explain that. Instinct does. Dachshunds are one of the most tunnel-oriented breeds on Earth, and that wiring didn't stay at work. To a dachshund's brain, an enclosed, dark, snug space isn't just comfortable, it's correct. It's where their body relaxes, their heart rate drops, and their nervous system finally switches off. The blanket isn't a jumper, it's a den. When your dachshund tunnels under the covers and sighs, they're not escaping the temperature. They're returning to the one environment their instincts recognize as completely safe. Why does this matter beyond being adorable? Because owners who think it's about cold sometimes discourage it, or worry something's wrong, or dress the dog up instead, and wonder why the burrowing continues. Let them dig in. Give them a blanket that's theirs, or a proper burrow bed with a cover, especially somewhere quiet. For an anxious dachshund on fireworks night or during a house move, that little cave can do more for their stress than almost anything you can buy. It's not a quirk to manage, it's a need to meet. Lie number 5. Dachshunds only ever love one person. This one gets whispered like a warning. Be careful with the dachshund, people say, because they'll pick one person in the house and everyone else may as well be furniture. And if you're not the chosen one, that's it. Door closed, no appeals. There's a grain of truth buried in here, which is exactly why the lie survives. Dachshunds do often have a favorite. They're an intense, focused breed, and they tend to attach hardest to whoever meets their needs most reliably. And here's the part people miss. That doesn't just mean the person filling the food bowl, it's the person who walks them, trains them, plays with them, and responds to those barked reports we talked about earlier. In a dachshund's ledger, attention and engagement count more than treats ever will. But a favorite is not a fortress. The idea that a dachshund's heart has room for exactly one name in it says far more about how the household divides the dog's care than it says about the dog. When the walks, the games, and the training are shared around, the bond spreads too. Slower with some family members than others, sure, because this breed hands out trust like it's expensive, but it spreads. Ask anyone in a multi-person home who deliberately rebalanced who does what with the dog, and they'll tell you this so-called one-person dachshund quietly became everyone's dog within a few months. So if your dachshund currently treats you like a stranger in your own home, don't accept the lie that you've been permanently unselected. Take over one walk a day. Run one 5-minute training session each evening. Become the answer to something they need, and watch that famous loyalty start pointing your way too. 5 lies, and underneath every single one, the same pattern. A behavior gets noticed, a lazy explanation gets attached, and then the explanation gets repeated so often it starts sounding like fact. Stubborn, fragile, yappy, cold, one person only. And meanwhile, the real dog, the independent, tough, vocal, den-loving, deeply loyal hound sitting in your living room, goes misunderstood by the very people who love them most. You don't have to be one of those people anymore. You know what the ignoring actually is. You know what really protects that long spine. You know what the barking means, what the blanket lump means, and how that famous loyalty actually gets earned. So here's what to do next. First, in the comments, tell me which of these 5 lies you believed before today, because I read every one and I'm genuinely curious which myth runs deepest. Second, if this video taught you even one new thing about your dachshund, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because we go this deep on dog breeds every single week, and the next video might just bust a myth you're still living by. And finally, share this with one dachshund owner you know, because somewhere out there, a good dog is being called stubborn for thinking, and they deserve better. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.